Bro, stop doing
He can do whatever he wants. He's a recorder. He's going to put it together.
That's true.
We trust him.
All right, guys. Welcome to episode 3 of Married to. My name is Charlie. This is Anisha.
I can introduce
And
myself.
today we are going to be going over
Men's mental health.
men's mental health. All right, that'll be fun. So,
All right.
let's dive into it then. I guess from a woman's standpoint, what's questions you always want to ask men that I feel like men just don't answer for women?
I don't know. I don't really feel like we have one that we want to ask. I feel like it's just a known that you guys are almost programmed or wired, I guess, however you want to say it, to think that you can't talk,
Okay.
which I think leads me to a great point. So it's been, I don't know, months ago now.
I don't know.
I'm in a side quest literally right out the gate here. Like
I'm good
you,
with that.
you asked a question and I answered, and now I'm just gonna tell a story. So, yeah, to answer his question, I feel like almost all women can agree when we say we feel like it's just something they were programmed to do. But I don't feel like we push them to talk. I feel like we've just accepted it because that's just the nature of how things go. So, I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe longer, I feel like it's been a little while ago, Charlie did try to open up and talk to me about something that was very upsetting and concerning to him. Backstory, Charlie has been super wonderful with all of my PCOS, hormones, all those things, and allowing me to heal from past trauma for a lot of years. So he put himself aside to help me heal. So now that I feel like I'm way more balanced than was before, I'm now trying to let him kind of go through his emotions or like things that have bothered him throughout the years. So, are you just going to restart the whole podcast?
No, I'm good. Keep going. We're good.
Okay.
I'm going to keep laughing the whole time, so you guys keep going.
Okay, you're making this awkward. Anyways, this is why we don't talk.
It's nothing to do with you. It's just...
So, anyways, he opened up, talked about something that bothered him, and immediately I jumped to defense of, like, I didn't do that, or no, whatever it was, like shutting it down to where I didn't want him to feel like, I think the best way I can explain this to you, because I don't even think we've really talked about this, is like, I didn't want you to feel like I was failing you. At that point, if you felt like I was failing you, then it was, okay, then maybe you would leave. So I think sometimes maybe that's where it comes from, is like us women get scared of men expressing how they feel, because then it puts it in reality, how they feel. It's like you guys just eventually break and we have to be here to pick up the pieces. Versus, I think talking about how we feel this is really frustrating. You wanted to talk about it. Either you're going to talk about it or we're not.
I'm not laughing at you, bro.
Bro, but like this is a serious matter. Like it's something that's concerning that I feel like most men need to hear about.
Well, I'm not going to argue that. Anyway, backstory on the giggles. We're filming in the gym today, and just mid-sentence while she's talking, some dude's like, oh. Anyway.
Do you want to restart?
No,
Okay.
because he's just started his workout, so he's going to be here for a while.
Okay. Just hoping to cut out your giggles at this point.
We'll see.
Anyways.
I'll start off with this. I mean, ladies, I'll tell you straightforward. Um, Men will try to open up to you one time, and depending on how you act that one time, will determine if he ever does it again. Um,
So to ask you that, so the time, I'm already cutting you off, I know,
already.
but the time that this happened and you opened up, to kind of finish what I was saying, I didn't handle it correctly. I did come out and apologize and was like, I want you to talk to me. Um, After me explaining that to you, like I didn't handle this the way I wish I could have, like it caught me off guard. Do you feel like that's something where you will forever be stuck in that place because I didn't handle it correctly, or do you feel like me acknowledging that I didn't handle it correctly, you would like still be willing to communicate about things?
I mean, acknowledging you didn't handle it the way it should have been, or wasn't accepting it was a big part of it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not really as much as what happens in the moment that'll make men stop. It's more what happens after the moment. So, for example, if I tell you that, um, something that happened when I was a kid, or something that really bothers me, or maybe something that, like, you know, whatever it could be, right? Something that really makes me insecure, and you just want to constantly poke fun at it, bring it up in arguments, throw it back at me. It's pretty simple. They just won't talk to you about it, and they won't give you any more ammunition to throw back at them. They'll shut down, say, fine, I have to deal with it on my own already. I'll continue to deal with it on my own. You do your thing, I'll do me.
So do you feel like there's a time I've ever done that to you? Like
Several times.
over things when you were younger?
Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be when you're younger. That was just an
Oh, okay.
example.
Because
But
I'm like, I didn't think that had been a thing.
no, I mean, there's several times where I can bring up something that bothers me, or maybe something that happened when I was a kid that I was working through or figuring out, and mid argument, or when you're upset, you'll be like, that's why you're so obsessed with always having to win, because you have freaking daddy issues and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, cool. Like, I'll never talk to you about them again.
Okay.
So that's just fine. Like, you'll never hear anything about any problems I have ever again. And it's that simple for men. So that's why most men don't talk. That's why most men,
But do you feel
especially
like
with
that's
women.
do you feel like that's the same though for like women? Because like you'll do the same thing. Like, so do you feel like I think
Well,
that's
and
why we do
it's
it
the
too.
intent. So
Right.
you'll say something like, I don't know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I think the reason you're doing this is because of X, Y, Z. And then you immediately, oh, here we go, you're bringing it up. And it's like, no, I brought it up because I'm helping you figure out like where this is rooted from.
Right.
If you know what it is, if you can identify a problem, you can fix a problem. If you can't identify it, you can't solve it.
So do you think like when we
It wasn't something where it was like you were, being mean to the kids because you beat them in Yahtzee, and I was like, here you are again, being an ass because, you blah 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 because you have mommy issues. Like, it's completely different intent and completely different conversations, right? And that's where the gray line of it is, right? If you're communicating with someone and trying to help them through something, pointing out like, hey, this probably happens because of X, Y, Z, which leads you to do this. So I think that may actually be the root cause, right? Men offer solutions. Like, even last night I joked with you because you were all like saying something or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, you called me 26 times about it. You're like, yeah, well, you weren't giving me a solution. I'm like, well, every other time you call me, you're like, I'm just venting. Just let me vent. I don't want solutions. And I'm like, and now you're complaining I didn't give you a solution. So I'm like, well, which do you want? Which is why, like, I kind of told you, like, to start having the rule of, like, hey, if you're venting, call me and say I'm just venting. And if you don't say those words, then I'm going to give you solutions. But there's several times where you still don't do that. You say, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Not, hey, I'm venting out loud so I can figure this out. Because those are very different things. If I know you're just talking, then I'm just going to let you talk and do your thing, and I'm not going to,
And backstory, so
to it,
like the last couple days we've had to reroute like our schedules, and that is very Like, I'm not good with that.
Because of her.
I'm not good with that. So, like, you know, we're kind of moving employees around and stuff. And so, like, I'm not good with not having my routine. Like, my routine makes me function well. But
Yeah.
I think you're more of the go with the flow kind of guy. Like, you understand that things are just going to happen and you just have to figure it out and go with it.
That's a
But
big old strip.
what is your, like, what is your thought on that, though? Do you feel like
Which
we act like out of emotion when we're trying to? Because, like, I don't, from my side, I don't feel like my intent is to hurt you. Like, I feel like I'm just addressing, like, well, you handled that because of, or you acted that way because, you know, you have this past trauma stuff that you haven't dealt with, is what it feels like. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing it ill
I don't
intent.
feel like if I beat the kids in Monopoly and you point out something with me and my dad or me and my mom or whatever it is that has anything to do with you trying to fix something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just you trying to point out that I'm being a butthead.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's that's not a valid, I guess, argument to me.
But I think, like, what I'm saying is, though, is like I point it out in the moment because you're like, when you say, well, give me a scenario, I can't think of
Yeah,
one.
but there's times
So,
and
like,
places for everything.
right. And that's what I'm saying. So I think, like, if in your opinion, because I suck at memory, like, if I was to say something to you about that, do you feel like it's something I should do, like, after the game is over and, like, just address it, like, still quickly?
I mean, well, first and foremost, I mean, just because this seems to be the example we're sticking with, number one, no, I don't believe you should let kids win and stuff all the time, right? Like, I don't believe that. I do believe there's a certain age where you stop letting them win, period. So
Well, I'm not saying
when I
that,
beat my
though.
teenage kids in a game, too bad. They want the smoke, they're going to get it.
But you take it to another level, though. Like,
no, I can't help. I'm just that next level. You know, our videographer had to find out that Warzone life. I'm about it. I'm just kidding. He actually beat my butt, but it doesn't matter.
And this is what women will call ego, and hang in there.
Yeah, well, they can call it ego all they want. Honestly, like, it's just fun to us, right? It's harmless. It's competitive. It brings us back to high school, playing sports, hanging
But
out
it
with the
doesn't
guys.
make it fun when you, like, go to that next level. And your family has even said this before. Like, you have a streak in your family that struggles with that because, like, your dad, stuff like that. Everybody on that side is very, like, and even when you go golf sometimes with, like, your dad and your brother, like, you're like, okay, sometimes this is exhausting. Like,
Well, that's just because that has nothing to do with that. That's because they argue and bicker over dumb stuff.
right. So, I mean, we hear a lot of the noise and the chatter from everybody. So I think that's what makes it hard, is not like necessarily am I worried about the kids. I'm more like, hey, this is something you need to work on because you kind of go to an extreme with it.
Well, and
And you've
Here-
always wanted to win and be the best at
and
everything.
here's the thing with that. Like, you know, that's, I think, a big issue in today's world, period. I think we've gotten way too, it's okay, we're just having fun, it doesn't matter. And I think it shows because now we have a generation of kids who most of them don't play sports, most of them aren't active at all. We have an insane health crisis in this world, especially of kids that are younger. You know, they get participation trophies. We see parents constantly going after coaches and after schools because my kid isn't getting playing time. And that's not how the world works. The world works in, if you are the best for the position, you get the position.
Right.
It's no different when they go to the work life, right? When they go to the work life, if you interview and you are the best candidate, you win it. When you create these imaginary blocks, then the kid becomes a victim for the rest of his life and he's stuck in victim mode. Like, I call it small town mentality because you see it all the time in small towns. I'm from a small town, I can't do it. He got the position because he knows somebody. They didn't give me the position because of X, Y, Z. And it's like, or you just weren't the best candidate, you didn't stand out. How can I revert and make myself stand out? I own a business, I promise you. Whoever stands out the most and shows me the potential to have the position, I will hire. I have interviewed so many young kids, and most of them can't even look at me when they speak to me. Most of them can't even, like, carry a conversation. Most of them have no, just standard people skills because at 17 years old, mommy still orders their food for them. And it's insane. And I bring it up all the time how me and you were raised so completely different. At 7, 8 years old, my parents weren't home. I got myself up for school. I walked myself down the road to the bus stop. If we had a game on Friday night, I stayed after school for the 2-3 hours, whatever it was. We didn't go home and get to go somewhere else and then come back. Mom and dad didn't pick us up and go somewhere. No, most of the time, actually, I'd be sitting at the high school and mom and dad would be at El Reparo. Like, that's just how it was. If you wanted to play, you did what it took to play.
But see, that's where you jump the gun because you assume I was raised differently. Like, you've never actually asked. Like, you were like, well, didn't you go home? And I'm like, I didn't go home, but we had the Boys and Girls Club. So, like, my parents always had money in the account.
Well, that wasn't the assumption. The assumption you made was, oh my God, my 15 and 17-year-old kids don't know that they have a game tonight or may not know. They don't know that they need to bring, what if they need clothes? They don't know if they brought or didn't bring snacks. What if? And I'm like, no. They're 15, 17 years old. They can grow up. They can bring their own stuff. They can be prepared for something. If they're not prepared, they can learn the hard lesson of this sucks.
But there's a lot of
and
chaos.
I will be prepared the rest of my life.
Yeah, but there's a lot of chaos right now with.
There's not.
They didn't know if they were staying after for sure. Now.
Yes, they did because both of them told you to your face last night. They knew.
Right.
Because.
But as a mom, instead of me, I was busy yesterday.
Yep.
Right, working all day. And I didn't have time to ask them. Did you guys know you were staying
That's
after?
my point, though. What are you going to do when they're 30? Are you going to ask them if they remembered to pack their lunch for work?
But they will be driving themselves and taking care of themselves. They will be doing all those things.
And they learn how to do that right now. And that's why you're dealing with an 18, almost 19-year-old who doesn't know how to go to a BMV, who doesn't know how to pack his own lunch, who doesn't know how to cook his own food, who doesn't know how to do his own laundry. His girlfriend had to do it for him or teach him. That's why.
He does his own laundry.
He
but
does
we've had our kids doing the laundry for many years.
And you did not like it when I told you they needed to start.
So, no, I actually told you that they needed to be doing it. I wasn't doing it anymore. So.
But that's my point, is it's just, it cripples them. And the thing is, moms want to love their kids and be around them as long as possible. Dads accept the harsh reality of they're going to leave. I need to prepare them because if I die tomorrow, they need to survive.
I think the difference is that we genuinely worry. Like,
I know.
It's a genuine worry. It's not a, like, that we want to cripple them. It's just a genuine,
I didn't say you wanted to cripple them. I said you hold on to them.
Yeah. So, but like with Trevor, like now I know that he knows how to do the BMV. He knows how to do that stuff. Like next time if he calls me, I'm like, I need you to remember, like we did this.
3-4 vehicles deep.
Right.
He should have known how to do it after the first one.
But see, I didn't do that. I didn't have that when I left. Like when I left the home at 18 years old, I knew nothing and had to figure it all out. And I was terrified and I was exhausted and I had a lot of, I think that's where a lot of my anger stuff started, was I felt so alone. So I think it's like, it's kind of like you are running with your kids until you start walking with them. And then eventually they start walking on their own, right? Like it's like you just kind of slow down and you show them
never
things.
going to be walking on their own if you keep walking with them.
Right, but I think like that was something that I wanted to show him. Like if he goes to get his own phone plan, like I will be with you. We can learn how to do it. And
but why?
Because just like the insurance, right?
But that's
like,
my point. At 19 years old, then he can't call Geico. You can Google the number and find it.
He did call. He called.
You had to do it with him.
I was there with him.
Exactly. But why can't he have that conversation on his own?
Like I'm actually really glad that I was. So for any of you who are listening to this, Geico tried to not only screw my son over, but also tried to screw us over.
Right, which is having an adult conversation.
But like as an 18-year-old who hasn't done this before, he might have just went with it because he didn't think there was another option. Like he didn't know. We ended up calling Progressive and then went back and did it online because I was like, no, you're not going to settle for that. You know, they were trying to put his sister on his plan and then they actually said that we needed to leave Trevor on ours. So they were double dipping, and that's fraud, by the way. So, you know, Charlie looked into that to make sure, but
No, I didn't, but okay.
I thought you said you did.
No, you told me it was fraud because you told them it was fraud.
I mean, yeah, I did.
So
But I thought you...
Don't put words in my mouth.
I did. I thought you did look into it that night, though, after they said something to you.
No,
So.
they told me he couldn't be on ours because his dad got him emancipated,
Yeah.
and he's 18, and the car is in his name, not mine.
Yeah. So, anyways, But I think that's kind of the difference on a lot of things when it comes to moms versus dads. Like I feel like I am letting go, right? Like I'm trying to make sure he knows how to do these things, and I'm like, so next time, I won't be helping you,
Yeah, but what happens the next time something happens in his life he doesn't know how to do?
right?
Is
And
he
he's
going to have any basic figured out skills? Because right now our kids do not.
and he's going to have to start figuring that out. There's a
Yep.
lot of things that
So,
he's having to do
which is
on
better,
his
them
own.
have to figure out the figured out skills when we're still around to see them, or when they're 25 on their own and they have to figure it out on their own and they don't know how, and then they have to figure it out and no one's around them. At least we're still in their corner at that point. If something does happen, okay, did you learn? Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's get it fixed. Now you know for next time.
Right.
But at least they have the figured out skills. We had the kids with 17, 16 years old. You told him to order pizza one time. They're, oh, no, how?
And
You
that's
Google the number, son.
and I will say, like you, both of us had gotten a lot better about that. And like I, to this day, do not order for them. Like I'm like,
I
you
know.
can do it.
I agree.
You're fine.
I know.
Um,
But that just, like I said, I just think those are the basic skills, and those are the basic things where it's obviously we completely rabbit trailed on this one
Yeah, we did.
altogether, but that's my point, and it's no different when it comes to that versus, like I said, even me playing them in a video game. Cool, you want to play, we're going to play, and you're going to realize that experience matters. I've done this for a long time. You're going to realize that strategy matters, and if you're going to play, you're going to put effort into it and figure it out, or you won't, and that's okay. And there's times that we play stuff just to enjoy it, and that's perfectly fine too. And like it's all that matter. But to me, you're not going to be like, we're going to play to enjoy it, and then I'm going to intentionally suck or do things bad because then I'm not enjoying it.
but
Like,
I think
that's not
sometimes
fun
you
at
do
all.
take away the fun in that though. When it's always like, I always win, I always am right, I always this, I always that. It's like, okay, well that's fun for you, but like at some point it's either, hey, I'm going to teach you so you can be as good as me. Or like this morning, I had a client who outdid something I did, and I'm like, everybody give her a high five, like cheer her on because like she's out coaching the coach at this point. That's
Yeah.
cool.
But
you know
here's
what
the
I mean?
thing:
Like,
when the kids have beat me and stuff, it's a big deal to them. They celebrate it because it's an accomplishment. If I let them win, if I don't try, then
right,
it's
but
never
you
an
don't
accomplishment.
celebrate with them though.
No, we do.
No.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the last time Sis won, all four of you made such a big stink about it. You're running around the house dancing and joking, and
We
I'm just
did,
like, cool.
we did, but you didn't. You were a sourpuss about it.
No, I just said cool. I'm not gonna get up and dance with her because she beat me. Like, no, like that's
Yeah.
silly.
But I think that's the
I
hard
just said it
part.
was cool because she had learned how to do strategy and how to make it work. And that's what's cool about it. Because then what happens when she starts her own business? She can learn strategy. She learns, hey, this dude who's been doing it for 10 years knows way more than me. He's going to beat my butt if I go head to head with him.
Right.
How can I go about this differently? Right? And those are the lessons we learn from sports, games, different things like that. Versus if mommy and daddy let them win, then all of a sudden they get in the real world and they're like, Johnny down the street who does this too is being a jerk and he's trying to outdo me and he's doing this. And I was like, yeah, well, that's it's his job. His job is to do better than you. His job is to take business from you.
Right, right.
And it's no different. Your job when you're playing a game is to win. So yeah, you have to earn that. Now, obviously, if they're 7 years old, that's completely different. But like, we don't do anyone a service by just allowing things like that to happen. Like, it's such a disservice. It'd be like if we had clients and we're just like, it's okay that you keep eating cupcakes every single weekend. No, it's not. Like, I don't need to coddle you and make you feel better. I'm going to tell you, hey, that's not good, and you know it's not good. So, correcting people in that sense of pushing them to be better is never a bad thing. So, but it's all about the approach with it, right? If I walk up and I say, hey, you're being a fat piece of crap and you're eating this, like, no, that's being a complete jerk and a butt. But if I'm like, hey, like, you know better, this doesn't align with the identity we're building, this isn't who you want to be, we need to work on and fix this, we need to figure out why we're doing it, and then figure out how to avoid it, right? That's our job as coaches. That's our job as servants, that's our job as people, is to help improve people towards it. And I feel like that's why Christianity is so uncomfortable with so many people too, because our job isn't just to turn our head and act like what they do is okay. And people are like, oh, you're not supposed to judge. Well, I'm not judging anything. I'm just telling you that this is not okay. Um,
But I think there's
it's not
such
okay
a
if I
fine
do it
line.
or if you do it.
There's such a fine line, though, I think, in general, because I think sometimes you can get too caught up in holding people accountable and forgetting, like, the love that, God put in us for other people, and
Accountability isn't a form of love.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes it's like you almost get to the point of like, well, until they're going to act better, I'm not going to associate, or I don't want to associate, and you forget to just love them while they're trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, holding them accountable is a thing. It's a real thing, but you also have to love them through that accountability.
Okay.
And I think
So
sometimes people forget to
elaborate and dive deeper in that, because obviously there's something specific you have an example of in your mind.
I think it's just people in general, though. Like, I've seen it happen time and time again, like where, it's almost like sometimes people will get, it, how do I want to explain this to where it's like, for instance, like this morning, right? Like, I could have been like, oh no, I'm the coach. I can't be proud of her. I need to make her feel less than because I'm the coach. Like,
how's that holding someone accountable? That's degrading them. That's not putting
well,
them
but that's what
accountable.
I'm saying, though. It's like at some point, you get to a point of like, they don't want to see people do better, especially in Christianity, right? It's like they constantly have to feel like they're kind of like up here, and all these people, well, you need to come to us so we can help save you. But then it's like, well, but I'm always going to be better than you because I helped you get saved. Like, I've seen that a lot. And instead of being like, hey, we're all
none of
the
this
same.
is an example of accountability. I don't understand.
But we're all the same, like, right? So and that's where idols come from, because
Well, what does that have to do with accountability? Like,
because
you're still not talking about accountability.
accountability, I feel like a lot of times is you have to be willing to hold yourself just as accountable as you do other people.
100%. That's what the Bible says.
But that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people forget that. It's like, well, I'm going to hold all these other people accountable, but I'm not going to hold myself accountable as well.
Where does that have to do with anything we're talking about being above someone or I'm always better than you? That's not accountability. That's pride.
That's what I'm saying, though.
But that's not accountability. Accountability is, hey, man, you just stole something. You know that's wrong. Why would you do that?
Right.
It's not, hey, man, you stole, but I can steal because I'm better than you.
Well,
like that's not accountability.
But what
that's
I'm
pride.
saying is, though, is I think a lot of times people get to that. It's like a very fine line, is what I'm saying when we're having this conversation, because I think there's a lot of things that can really trickle into going the opposite way if you're not careful, right? Like, okay, my favorite instance is, like, I always tell people, I'm like, Charlie is hard on people, right? Like, you're tough on people, but I'm like, I watch my husband day in and day out be the exact same way to himself. Like, he is just as hard on himself as he is other people. How can I improve? What can I do better? How can I be this? How can I be that? Like, I'm going to study this because I don't know this. Like, so I tell people that all the time, but I think for some people it's the opposite, right? They want to hold others accountable.
Well, and they're not holding them accountable at the end of the day. Then they're just feeding their ego. They're trying to feed their status.
But I
That's
don't
not
think some people
accountability.
realize that they are doing it, though. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, they
with
know.
that.
In their heart, they know. I don't care what anybody says. They know. 100%. They know it's their ego. They know it's their pride. They know they're trying to feel like they're superior, like they're the one teaching. Like, 100% they know. That's not what accountability is by any means.
Right.
Accountability is if I tell you I'm waking up at 7 a.m. tomorrow and 7:30 I'm still not up, you call me and say, hey, you said you're getting up, get up.
Yeah.
Right? That's not you saying you're better than me.
Now,
if you were like, hey, you said you're getting up at 7, you still ain't done it, I've got up at 5 o'clock, ha 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 ha. That's not accountability. That's you bragging that you did something I didn't do, right? That's not accountability. That's pride.
Right.
So that's kind of the difference of them. And that's, like I said, the famous phrase people love to throw in the Bible with that is like, it's, the Bible says not to judge. It's like, well, read the whole passage. The Bible says not to judge lest you be judged by the same standard, right? So if I'm going to tell someone not to steal and then I'm over here stealing, Jesus says, how dare you look at the thorn in their eye while you have a log in yours, right? And that's him calling them out on that. Like, hey, like, you're calling him out on this over pride and ego to try to look good or look like you have a standard while you're doing X, Y, Z. What are you talking about?
Right. But, and I think that's where the love part comes into it, right? Like, you have to hold people accountable, but in the same sense, you have to understand that you have to hold yourself just as accountable. And that's where sometimes you have to give the grace and the love to the same people that you're giving to yourself. Like, I'm not there yet. I want to be there. But I feel like sometimes it's like, well, I'm going to hold you accountable and then do nothing with it, right? It's like new people that have been saved, right? It's like, well, I'm saved, now what? And there's nobody there to help guide them or lead them or understand more. Like, I felt
There
that
is.
way.
There's the Holy Spirit, but go ahead.
Well, and we're not going to disagree that, but like, well, where do I learn? What do I read? What should I do next? Like,
Start with the Bible.
right. But like, just like when you said, hey, there's a great place, like I ask you now, like, what should I read? Like, I need to understand this, or I want to understand this, and I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I read about Hannah and I didn't know that Hannah wasn't a book. Like, I thought it was a book in the Bible. And, I actually found the story very interesting. That was the first time I haven't come to you over something. Like, I did let the Holy Spirit, take over, but
She asked me about 5 questions, so she's reading it. But go
I
ahead.
think, no, I asked you a lot of questions about it, right?
Right.
But I didn't ask you what I should read. Like,
No.
that was the first time the Holy Spirit, like, just kept telling me, like, you need to read Hannah. You need to read Hannah. And I'm thinking it's a book, in the Bible, and come to find out it wasn't at all.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think that's where a lot of times kids are seeking, especially when you have mixed families, right? Like, kids are seeking approval. I know myself, even at 36 years old, like, my dad, however you want to word that, I think is a huge factor into why I never felt like I was enough. So I think as a mom, I wanted my kids to be able to find that approval through you. Like, oh, they can finally seek approval through somebody, and it not be a spouse, like it not be a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. Like, if they can find that through you, then they no longer have to do that. But what I had to learn was I had to deliver that over to God, because they should be seeking Him, not you or anything like that. You have to get rid of the idols, and I think once I really started to understand that, it became way easier for us to parent together.
No.
Then it became, I was putting all this pressure on you and on the kids. But I think sometimes you can also, my whole point of all this is I feel like sometimes pressure can almost be too much. And you see that nowadays in kids that end up taking alcohol or drugs or, whatever the case is, because they feel too much pressure to be the best, because there's no release at home, and having that. And they're constantly just trying to seek approval all the time, especially from broken homes. Like, they're just constantly seeking approval and they're never getting it. So I think that's where I came from when, like, I was like, hey, like, let them know. Like, let them know that, they won the game or whatever, because it is so important. And maybe that's a piece of me that I was trying to heal. But you have those great qualities, which I think is where mental health in men is such a big thing, because there's a lot of times, and I can't imagine being on your side, which is what I would love to wrap back into, where I took over as being the mom, mama bear, like you always call it, and I never let you lead the home. So I can't imagine for a long time how that felt, and now I'm in this role. We just had this talk the other day where I'm having to let go, and let you do this, and it's really hard. And I felt like I wanted to escape, and I wanted to go somewhere, because I'm not good with not being in control of the situation, even with giving it to God. It's just truly trying to let the man lead, I think is really hard. But I don't know how that has felt for you all of these years, especially with my hormones and all the things you've had to endure. So I think that was finally just letting you chat on how that feels.
I don't know what topic we're even on at this point.
I know. I feel like I have no idea. We rabbit holed really bad. I mean, rude. But.
Well, first and foremost, one of the biggest issues, everyone, including myself, have, and that I've seen time and time again in so many situations, is we have expectations from human beings or on human beings that was meant to be with God, right? He's in our DNA, he's in our breath, he's in everything with us. Like we naturally crave getting back to him throughout our whole life. So we're seeking, right, the love of a father, and everyone around us is like, oh, it's because your dad left. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of this. It's like, no, you're seeking the love of your father. It's just the wrong one you're looking for. Yeah. And most people never actually get that real relationship with God, so they always feel that void. And then it's like, even 30, 40 years later, they're like, man, I'm still messed up from it. And it's like, no, man, because you still haven't sought the right father.
You're like, can I just flick you?
Yeah, and it's like, I love my dad to death, and looking back, the things he did, I'll never be able to thank him for completely. And there was still so many things that even growing up in a Christian home, I felt like I never really understood or really, put what I should have on God versus on him. And because, society teaches us, that's my dad, that's my mom, that's this, they're this, they're this, they're this. And they're not. They're human beings, They're not supposed to be doing any of that stuff that we swear they're supposed to. And that's why everyone has so many relationship issues nowadays, is we have these false expectations on people. So then, like, you start to see people who are just so calm and peaceful through all these different things. And most of the time, it's they have one thing in common. They don't have those expectations for people. Situations are what they are. People do what they do. We're all living and learning, and it's just, this is what's next. We got to handle it and keep moving forward. So, and as those things have landed more and more to me, that's just, it is what it is. Like, going through the PCOS with you, and all the hormone issues you had, and how pleasant you were. It was
so
simple.
pleasant.
You were going through stuff, and it just was what it was, right?
But do you feel like you ever got put like on the back burner, and like
All the
you
time.
weren't like? Do you? I mean, I don't want to say regrets.
But I'm not supposed to be on the front burner.
I'm not saying that, but do you feel like there's like regrets from, not regrets, I should say, but I mean, do you feel like maybe some resentment over all the stuff you had to go through that you couldn't, like?
No, and that's my point. Like, once again, like, you're acting like what I went through and all these different things were because of you, and at the end of the day, they weren't. Like, these were situations that God led to happen, or that he used for the greater good, that I could help other people with.
So let me ask you one specifically, because I'll never forget this one, and this one like broke my heart. So it was your birthday a couple of years ago, and I chose for you to take just a day, because you were just, it was a rough day. Some friends, that you thought were friends, just it ended up not being what you thought. And that was hurtful, right? As you've seen friends come and go over the years. But I remember that day was really rough. I asked you to take the day off. You did. Obviously, there was some controversy with it on social media, but you were...
I don't remember that, but okay.
I told people that you weren't going to have your phone, and it was your birthday, and it was, it was a whole thing. I was like, please leave him be for the day. And that created a little controversy over, people that wanted to get a hold of you.
I went to the gym working out, and I think I ran a session, but...
You did, but you actually ended up going to clear your mind. You ended up, I hadn't heard from you, hadn't talked to you, all the things. And I remember you were sitting at that bridge, and you were like, I don't know if...
That wasn't my birthday, but go ahead.
Was it the day before your birthday?
No,
I know you
it wasn't
took...
even around my birthday.
Huh?
It wasn't even around my birthday.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was actually in fall, because it was cold.
When you were sitting at the bridge? No, it wasn't. It was your birthday.
No.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I don't know.
No.
I thought for sure it was your birthday. Anyways, so long story short, you ended up sitting there, and you were like, I don't know if I'm doing all of this selfishly.
I think it was October. Go ahead.
You're like, I don't know if I'm doing all of this selfishly, or what, because you were like, is this all for me? And that was a big thing. But you were really hurt that I put it on social media. Now, backstory on my side, right? This was me just wanting to protect my husband to give him peace for the day. Like I thought I was doing a good thing. You ended up frustrated because I posted it on socials.
Yeah.
But we actually had 2 people that reached out that day and said because we were so open, there was actually one man who chose to go back to God and did not end up committing suicide that day because he saw the post. And the second one was just saying how grateful he was that, he felt like somebody like Charlie, we weren't afraid to say like he was struggling. So I found that very empowering, but I didn't think of your feelings for the day. I genuinely just wanted to protect you and be like, everybody leave him alone.
Right.
But how you
Which
were.
is never what happens, by the way. If you post leave someone alone, it doesn't happen.
No,
Everyone wants
God,
to reach
no,
out
it
and
doesn't.
check on you.
But hindsight, I didn't know that. I just wanted you to be able to be left alone, and it was the easiest way to let clients know you weren't going to be in there. But you got really upset about it because you were like, that was me. Like, you didn't have the right to post about it. And
Yeah.
at first I was angry. But then I was like, you know what? He's right. Because that's a tough pill to swallow. Like, we want to protect our men, I think, more times than not, because they don't, break very often. So when they do, we feel like we have to come protect them. But can you tell me how you felt that day? I really don't think we've ever talked about this since.
Well, and first and foremost, whenever I called you out on it, the first thing you did was you got mad. And then you were like, this is exactly the problem. Like, you need to be
Yes.
just talking to people and being transparent about stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's none of your business. What I choose to do is, once again, none of your business.
You're right.
And
And
so
that's
it's
hard
like
to
you're
hear.
mad at me because I'm not doing what you think I should be doing. So, okay.
Well, and let me stop you real fast on that. So the reason I think that I was upset was just because it comes from that place of we feel like men don't talk enough. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it came out wrong, but I meant it like, at some point, like, you guys have to talk, like, so that was kind of where I came from on that, but keep going.
We'd love to talk. We just can't talk without being interrupted.
True. Facts.
No, it wasn't like that. It's number one. I don't want 1,000 people reaching out to me. Like, I'm fine.
Right.
It was just something I was working through and accepting, and it's not a big deal. I was reevaluating myself. I was going through things. I was reevaluating different directions of things, and it just was what it was. Like, so for me, it was like I just need time alone, and this wasn't my birthday. This was October, if I'm not mistaken, to be exact.
I swear I thought it was your birthday.
No, this was October. But yeah, so I mean, it was just one of those deals where it's like, okay, and like I said, one of the biggest things that came out of it was pretty simply, why do you do the things you do, right? Like, that was kind of what's coming through it, and it was like, do I do this because I think I'm a good person? Do I do this because, it's just what's expected? Do I do this for publicity? Do I do this for, like, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing X, Y, Z? Is it just because that's like how I was raised? Is it like, what is this? Why? And the more I got into it, the more I read things, the more I kind of went through it. It's pretty plain and simple. The reason I do things that I do is because, when I say that Jesus was my Lord and Savior, Lord means if He tells me to do it, I'm going to do it,
Right.
regardless of what anybody thinks or does or how they react. It has nothing to do with them, right? And that brought me like a lot of peace with it, because it's like, okay, I didn't forgive them because they deserved it, because they asked, because I'm supposed to, because of X, Y, Z. I did it because I was commanded to, so I'm going to do it. I didn't go out of my way to give this kid a home and teach him things and do this and do that because, I felt bad or is this and that. It's because I'm commanded to, and that's how I live my life, even without thinking about it. The Bible says, even the Gentiles are under the law, but we have the law written in our hearts, and at that point we act out the law. So it's one of those deals where for me it's like, okay, I know the reason I do these things is it's, the Holy Spirit's in me, and the fruit of the Spirit's come out of me. And it's not me doing them; it's the Spirit that's in me, and it's the commands I was given. So that brought me a lot of peace, because it was no longer well, why do I do this for them just to take advantage of me, or them to do this and do that and get free stuff for 5 years and then just say, screw you, I'm going to pay someone else. And and we see that all the time at the gym. We see it all the time. We give someone a free membership, or we give them free training, or we give them free this or free that, and we try to help out, and then all of a sudden
they're paying
oh,
someone
well, I can afford a gym membership now, so I'm going to sign up somewhere else. Or, I can do this now, so I signed up with so-and-so online. And it's like, okay, man, well, what was the point of me helping you then?
Right.
You came to me and asked because you said you couldn't afford it. I helped you, and then come to find out you can, and you're willing to pay someone else. So, cool. And that was the biggest thing, was like when we started to accept that I didn't do that for them. I did that because I'm commanded to.
Right.
Then I don't care what they do after that.
Right.
Like, now it's no longer my problem.
And I feel like
how you
we've
react
gotten
is your
way better
problem.
at that. Like, there's not that I don't want to say there was ever a stipulation, but like I don't think we realized how much it hurt us when it did happen.
Well,
and now I feel
it
like
was
we
the
don't.
promises that was made to us, right? It was always,
Right.
You've done so much for me. The moment I can, I will. Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, it was like, well, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
And
But now I feel like we take the time to really decide if we're going to. Like, we have put ourselves at a standard now to where we don't just give stuff away for free all the time.
Well, and it was also one of those deals too, where it was very different situations. There was plenty of times where we gave stuff away for free, fully knowing we're giving this away for free.
Yeah.
We're not expecting anything in return. Like, this is just us helping people. We have our scholarship we're getting ready to roll out here soon for the same thing.
Yeah.
We're not expecting anything in return out of any of that. It was the ones who we took them at their word of, hey, I have every intention on signing up in January. I'm just tight for a month or two. I'm like, hey, we're going to give you the month or two free. Like, take care of your family, do what you got to do. Come January, we'll square up.
Yeah.
And then January comes, they're like, oh, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. And those are the ones that bothered us, not even, I think, because of what they did. It was more like am I that stupid? Why did I not have this in writing? Why did I not do it?
Right. That's what I think we've ironed out a lot, is that, and I feel like we pray on it before we make decisions now. Like, I don't feel like we just jump and do it anymore. Like, it's a genuine,
Well, I feel like that's been probably one of the biggest growths of us in the last 18 months or so. Has been that transition of, okay, like,
business is business.
well, like, it's not even that. It was just, I feel like we've really made the transition of, I believe in God. I know God's real. I believe in Christ. I know what He did, X, Y, Z. And I guess the phrase that I'll throw out there is better as like a casual Christian, so to speak.
Yeah.
Versus actually, pursuing Him. I feel like has been the biggest change, and I feel like because of that, it's caused a lot of growth in us and a lot of things we've had to address, and within ourselves and within those around us, and within our household, and within our business, right? So I feel like that was kind of a big turning point for us to do a lot of this growth and things. And I can't speak for you, obviously, but I know, like, for me, like, it's given me a lot of peace and a lot of things. And so I feel like that was definitely a big part of it. And I feel like
and I feel like we really let Him start taking over, like, our business too. And I mean, I feel like even our family, we pray together more as a family. We really go to Him first, I feel like, before we make big decisions. Over the gym or what we're going to do. Plus, I feel like our way of giving back is different now too. Like, you've created your men's group, which I feel like is definitely serving the Lord. That is a place for men to feel safe and heard and seen, and then to also go to Scripture with it. And then I've created mine as well. So I think we just really stopped seeking approval of probably men, I guess, or women, whatever, human beings, I think that was for a long time what we were looking for, because we wanted the business to succeed, right? Like, everybody has to want to come here or we're going to fail.
Right.
Versus now we just fully trust that God,
Yeah.
is
And I
going to
feel like we
provide.
have, probably the best group of people we've ever had at the gym now.
Yeah, I do too.
Because of that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and the men's mental health group I have, that's also, men's faith group is called Building Biblical Masculinity. Um,
It's a lot to
it
say.
is, but
It's cool though. I mean,
yeah,
I remember the day that you announced it. Like, I was like, this is so cool.
yeah,
Because I genuinely hope, like, because I don't feel like you necessarily have to talk to us, but as women, I feel like I think we want to know you're okay and we're here if you want to talk.
yeah. Well, and the problem is there's just so many things that just we will never understand each other on,
Right.
right? We
Right.
can accept that we don't understand each other on it and just try to accept how the other person is, but we won't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for men, the group's designed to teach them the standards that we're supposed to hold as men, as fathers, as husbands, and as sons of Christ. Um, so that was the big point of it. And there's struggles that we'll always have as men that women just won't understand, and there's struggles that women have that men will just never understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the end of the day, like one of the biggest things for me is like even within our household, I know you guys get mad at me about some stuff a lot, um, and I hate to say in the phrase that I will because I don't really have a better way to put it, but it's I don't care. Like I don't do this because you guys. It's gonna make you guys happy. It's gonna make you guys this and that. Like the things I do is because I'm commanded.
Right.
Like I will always seek God above you guys, and I don't mean that in a
Yeah.
mean way. You will always be my number two. But like when he tells me something's supposed to be a certain way, I will tell you. Like it's no different when Chelsea came home from Bible study and she learned this at church, and I'm like, you're not going back to that Bible study because that's absolutely false.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I actually called the pastor of the church and was like, hey, you guys are teaching this, which is not in the Bible, and I would gladly debate it with you, and we can go over it together. And I'm appalled that you call yourself, I think it was a Baptist church. I'm like, I'm appalled you call yourself a Baptist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Which,
and
and they
yeah, and
had a
that's,
discussion. You actually
yeah,
ended up talking, and I mean,
he agreed,
they
and then
came from a
yeah,
place
but
where
it came from a parent,
no, it came
or
the
it came from a Bible school teacher who I think
yeah,
was a parent. She may not be,
yeah.
but it came from her not wanting to upset kids and not wanting them to feel uncomfortable
She
and things
did.
like that. And because of her intent to be nice or not make them feel awkward, she led them astray from Bible. And which is more important, the feelings of the kids or sticking to the biblical
Well, but
truth?
remember, the only reason that you gave some grace on it, though, was because she meant it, and she told you that. She said
She
that
didn't.
she.
I never talked to her. I talked to him.
Oh, okay. I thought
No.
she. Okay, so then she must have
She tried
relayed it to
saying that she
him
basically was trying to avoid the subject and move on.
because she felt like the kids were too small to have that conversation.
Um,
She did say that. She was
That's
like,
not what he told me, but
"Oh, okay,
basically he just said that she wanted to avoid it because she thought it was awkward or whatever else, and she
okay,
kind of just said a very bland answer that the kids clearly took the wrong way, in her
yes,
opinion.
yeah."
Um,
Which I feel like is very hard,
I
because
don't.
when you're doing stuff like that, especially as women, right? Like I know myself, I would be like, "Ooh, okay, how do I just get this to stop because I don't
Right.
know enough to say,
Well, and it's
you
just,
know."
yeah, I mean, and that's what I said. That's where,
And I think women will always lead with love. Men lead with logic. And
well, and you can do both, right?
yeah.
I'm not going to tell them you're stupid, you're wrong, you're this, you're that. It's like, hey, that's actually not true.
But
We see this.
what she said though was
Um,
that you're supposed to love everyone.
That's not what she said.
I thought that's
No,
how
she said, the Bible says you love who you love, and that's okay.
Oh, okay.
And that's not biblical at all. And the Bible doesn't even describe love as a feeling. That's a hallmark trait that they've
Yeah.
sold this generation. Love is not a feeling. Love is doing something despite how you feel,
Right.
right? And look back in your life at people you've really loved, and that's true. Like despite that I'm sick, I still get up and take care of the kids. Despite that I didn't feel good, I still took Chelsea to the doctor and let her puke on my feet. Despite that you're sick,
He did.
you still go to the hospital, or you still make the kids soup, or you still do whatever. Like,
Right.
despite how I feel, I do this. That is what love is.
Right. Right.
People nowadays are like, I just think about this person all the time, and I love that they make me happy. It's like, yeah, you love that they make you happy. You love that you feel good. That doesn't
Right.
mean you love the person, right?
Right.
That's not the same thing. you love how they make you feel, right? That's selfish. Love is not selfish, so you cannot say that that's love.
Yeah.
And I know, like I said, I know nowadays that's a very unpopular opinion. Um, but so God loved the world, he sent his only son to die on the cross, right? It doesn't say that, you know, he felt it, like, you can't tell me that that makes love a feeling, right? Like, you know, that's despite how he feels, despite not wanting to see his son go through these things, despite not wanting to watch all these things happen,
So-
despite him being upset with us, he still did it.
So why do you feel like, to rabbit hole here, why do you feel like men do commit suicide more than women?
For that very reason, right? Like, they don't.
That's kind of why I
Yeah.
rabbit holed. I was like,
I mean, I can't say exactly what it is, but I think for a lot of men, they attach themselves to earthly things, to earthly people. Um, they don't know their father. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't know their reason. Without a reason or driving purpose, they feel lost. They're so scared to talk about things because and it is a pride thing. I don't care what anybody tells you, like whether you're taught or not, it's a pride thing where you value, you're supposed to have such an image that you can't just be vulnerable and talk to people about stuff. And I'm just as guilty as the next one, so I'm not going to, you know, say or pretend anything like that.
so do you think that there is a chance
And
if,
then when we try to talk about how we feel, we get cut off.
do you feel like there's a chance though that like if, so we talked about the scenario earlier, if a man was to talk to a woman and she doesn't respond correctly, kind of like what we were talking about in the beginning,
Right.
when I didn't handle that situation correctly, I mean, do you think that it's just an immediate, that's it, you're done, like you'll never talk to me again? Because I mean, I feel like you have sense.
Yeah.
But what do you feel like if you were to talk to a woman, right, and to tell her,
I'd get punched in the face.
that is true. Don't try to talk to him. No, I'm just kidding.
She's mean.
I am mean. But what do you think? I mean, do you
Alarm
think
number 5. Go ahead.
the way that I handled that and apologizing to you, do you feel like that brought you some peace? Like, okay, maybe she really isn't understanding me, or what would you say to a woman to fix that if they didn't handle it in the right way?
It's not on the woman. It's on the man. Like I said in I think our last episode or the one before prior to, 100% accountability. I'm trying to relay how I feel. It's my job to relay it correctly. But at the same time, you know, it's my job to choose my wife. And if I choose a woman I can't talk to, then I never should have chose her. She's not a wife at that point. She's just a woman I married. You know, the Bible says, and I even said it in our vows, the Bible says, he who finds a wife has found a wonderful thing. She is a wife. She became my wife when I married her. It doesn't say he who found a girl and they went on some dates and hung out and did these things and she became a wife. No, it's you find a wife. Just like for women, like you find a husband. It's not a boy. It's not a project. It's not somebody you're fixing. He is a husband. When he's ready for the relationship, then he is ready to be a husband. If he's not ready and you're grooming him, he will never be. And you will never have these good conversations, and you will never have this. You're setting yourself up for failure at the start. So that's the first place it has to start. From there, it's up to me to have these conversations with you in a way that I know you'll receive it. And because I know I picked a wife, I know there's a way that you will receive it. And the first time coming out of the years of PCOS and all this other stuff that we kind of went through, and that you had been through, you know, the first time wasn't exactly perfect.
Right.
But at the end of it, you handled it, in my opinion, well or correctly, or however you want to say it. And you apologize that it didn't go the way you hoped it to go or that I had hoped it to go. And it's fine. And at the end of the day, you know, we're now one flesh. We're not two. So, you know, you're my only person I'm supposed to talk to about these things. You know, our marriage is a circle between us with God in the middle, and that's it. There's no one else in our marriage. I'm not supposed to talk to other people about issues in our marriage. Vice versa, you're not supposed to either. Like, that's not how this works. You know, I talk to you, I pray to God, and I work on me. And the closer we get to God, it's like a pyramid. The closer you get to the top, the closer you are together.
Now, so let me ask you about that then. If I know I feel like I'm cutting you off again, but I
This time's
have,
fine.
yeah, I have my best friend that I go to a lot.
Yep.
But I feel like the reason that I do is because I trust her, right? Like she will call me out if it is like, hey, you're doing too much, you're being too much. Like, you know, she did it. Love you, best friend. But she did it to me this morning. You know, she was like, man, you know, she is a lot more like you. Like she doesn't have a lot of emotion. She doesn't. She doesn't. She literally told me this morning I was
But-
emotional.
Oh yeah, she justifies that when she just blatantly passes over the fact that she said I don't have emotions. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
I know. He doesn't. No, I'm just kidding. He
Sorry,
does,
man.
but he's not emotional. That's what I'm looking for. But
Right.
she was like, you know, she genuinely like feels bad because she was like, you have so many emotions that it has to be exhausting, and it is. But I have learned now that, and this is my question, do you think though, because there's several things I will go to her about before I go to you, because
Okay.
I'm like, I want to, is this emotional?
Right.
You know, I don't want to cause
Well-
an issue in my marriage if I think I'm just overreacting.
Well,
right?
and there's a difference, right? There's a difference between me going to someone and venting about you and things you're doing and yada yada yada,
Right.
and issues in our marriage. And there's a difference between seeking counsel, and seeking
Okay.
counsel. You have to
Have the right
number
people.
one have the standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a Christian person? Do they line up with my beliefs? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then don't ask. You know,
Right.
I would never ask for advice from someone I don't care about their opinion from.
Right.
And I would never listen to someone's opinion that I would never ask advice for, right? So if Joe Schmo's telling me how to bench press, I'm looking over and he's struggling with 185, and I'm like, dude, I bench 500. Do you think I care what he thinks? Absolutely not.
Right.
Just like I wouldn't ask, you know, marriage advice from someone who's never been married. Why? You don't know anything about this. And I wouldn't ask advice from someone who's not a Christian because you don't hold the marriage standards.
Right.
So that would be first and foremost. And then from there, it's a conversation of, hey, I'm doing XYZ, yada, yada. Biblically, am I doing the right stuff? Am I not doing the right stuff? What am I doing wrong? XYZ, da, 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 right? I'm asking about what I'm doing wrong and how I can fix it. And that's absolutely biblically appropriate, 100%. Now, if I went there and I was like, dude, she just won't freaking stop. She won't shut up. She called me 26 times. She just goes off and spends money and yada, yada, yada. And, you know,
He's venting to the camera.
No, I'm not. But
Just kidding. Just kidding.
But if I'm doing that, right, I'm degrading you, right? I'm putting you down. I'm venting about how awful you are, how you're out of control, and yada yada. And that's absolutely not okay. Because then all my friends are gonna be like, dude, like his wife's a handful. Like she's this, she's that. You know, they're catching one side of a story, and they have this awful image of you before they ever even meet you, and they really don't know you. So they're just
Right.
like,
Right.
you know. And that happens all the time. Where like, yeah, they think you're a jerk because all she does is vent about you. She never talks about the good things and brags about the cool things. So all they hear is bad, 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 bad. So yeah, they naturally think you're a bad person. That's all they hear.
Right.
And then in their mind, they're like, why are you with them? You know? So yeah, so I mean, it's completely different to seek counsel on what you're doing, what you're supposed to be doing, and et cetera, versus just venting about your significant other.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the difference. What I mean about marriage versus yourself, right? Like, I'm not venting about my marriage. Like, dude, I hate my marriage. She blows over money. She does this. She does that. She does this. She does that. You know, she hasn't done this in however long. You know, all these different things. Like, that's not okay at all. So, and like I said, you know, it's natural to be frustrated. It's natural to be upset. You know, you feel what you feel, but it's completely up to you on how you express what you feel, right? Feelings are inside, and that's it. Like people act like they're this powerful aura all around us, and they're not. They're just in your head. It's not your heart. You know, your heart's a muscle. It doesn't feel stuff. It's all in your brain. So it's up to you how to relay that and express that correctly and okay. So, and that's a huge part of we'll say growing up, maturing, being an adult,
Right.
right? And the biggest thing is women will cry, men will get angry.
Yeah.
So if a man's upset, if he's hurt, he's going to get mad. He's going to get defensive. He's going to try to do his thing, and he's hurt. He's probably not really mad. Versus women will get emotional, and they'll tend to, sometimes they'll cry, sometimes they'll, you know, go through what they go through, and that's okay to feel how you feel. It's just up to you on expressing it correctly. So.
So to reenact the actual, like, the time that I feel like changed, you talking to me. You were talking to me about something, trying to express how you felt. You got to the point where you got so upset because you were like, I'm trying to talk to you and you don't care. So then you went to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I think you've ever like left the situation. I mean,
Yep.
you weren't like packing your stuff and leaving specifically. You were like, I need to go for a drive. I need to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And before you left, that's when I walked out and said, hey, like I didn't handle that the correct way. If you want to come back inside, like I really would love for you to talk to me about how you felt. And then you did. I mean, you chose to. And I was like, I want you to know that, I support either way. If you still need to leave, you can leave. But I now understand I didn't handle that correctly. So that is kind of how that situation happened. So for any women that are out there, please don't be afraid to be like, you know what, I didn't handle that correctly. And I think my fear is I didn't want something to happen to you and for it to be, I didn't want something to happen to you and you had tried to, be open, honest, and vulnerable and real. And then, I didn't handle it the right way. Because I think that's when men shut down the most is, when they do try to talk. Because like you said, it is,
Well,
I mean, it's pride. You're setting your pride aside. You're setting your ego
The
aside.
biggest thing is men will seek peace no matter what.
Yeah.
And if talking about our emotions, talking about how we feel, creates a situation of non-peace, then we just won't do it. So, for example, I went to talk to you, and every human being does this on both sides, men and women. But every human being naturally, people call it being defensive, people call it whatever they want to call it. Most of the time it's incorrect. It's not a defense mechanism, it's not bouldering up, it's not whatever they want to call it. Most of the time what it actually is human beings naturally perceive conversations as two ways. So, as a two-way conversation, let me clarify that part. But naturally that's how people see it. So if you start and you open up the conversation talking about how you feel, naturally the other person says, okay, we're talking about how we feel, this is how I feel, right? And instead of it being a one-sided conversation where I'm expressing how I feel, let's talk about it, it becomes, well, you feel this way, but I feel this way, and this is what happened, and this is why. And it becomes a back and forth of why I feel the way I feel, why you feel the way you feel, and I don't feel like that's correct, and you don't, and all these different things. And at the end of the day, that's what people do, right? They see that invitation. So it's not a defense mechanism. So a lot of times when women start to talk about how they feel and their husband starts to talk about it too, that's not him defending himself. That's him trying, like he understands, like, okay, we're talking about emotions. Cool. Now we'll talk about them, right? Men are there's a time and place for things, right? There's a time and place where I'm going to joke and laugh with the boys and do my stuff. There's a time and place to work. There's a time and place to talk. There's a time and place to whatever. So when you invite the time and place of we're talking about feelings, cool, I'm going to talk to you about feelings. So don't just be like, you're being defensive. I don't need you to, I'm not defending myself. I'm talking to you about how I feel and what happened, right? And then secondly, on the man side of things, we separate. We don't think logically and emotionally at the same time. Like for every thought for every thought that a man has, a woman's probably had 10. We're very simplistic beings in that sense of things. Like you guys think so much more on a daily basis than we do. You guys think about things insanely broader than we do. We just don't. We're very simple-minded. If you're married, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When they're hungry, they're hungry. When they're chasing you around the bedroom, they're very simple-minded, and we are. So when it comes to things happening, we're like, hey, this is what happened. And you're like, yeah, well, this happened, but this is how I feel, and this is why I feel this way, and this is what happened with this, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, and this happened with this, and it's like, no, I stubbed my toe, I yelled. It has nothing to do with you at all, right? But you don't see it that way. You see it as, well, you yelled in front of the kids and it scared them, and then I had to comfort them and I was upset. And then you got upset with me for telling you not to yell. So then now you're mad at me and I didn't even do anything.
I feel exhausted listening to it.
But that's, and like, that's why I try to tell women, like, men truly do separate the thought process and the emotional process completely. And it's good in some situations and it's bad in some situations. I tell people all the time, men were made to survive and to protect. We were made to get food and to protect. Women were made to make us human. That's just, we don't have that part to us naturally without you guys.
So do you think there's a lot of disconnect? And this is another podcast, or another episode, sorry.
Another podcast?
I know, it's another
Making
episode.
another one, all right.
Yeah. Do you think it has more to do with food nowadays that people are eating, or do you think it has more to do with like social media?
That was a big jump.
Do you think it has to do with more social media, or do you think it has to do more with women having to be more in the workforce than they've ever been?
Which part? I understand the points you're referencing, but I don't
Right.
understand what do I think, why, what is.
So nowadays you see more and more PCOS than you ever have.
Okay.
And so I think there's a huge disconnect.
Why do I think there's PCOS? Because I feel like we weren't even talking about PCOS.
No. I'm saying, like, in general, like, do you think that the hormone shift is off due to...
When were we talking about a hormone shift?
We weren't talking about hormone shift per se. We were talking about, like, women being one way, men being another,
And
when it
this is
comes
my point?
to... I know.
Because you jumped 3 pages to a different
Well,
direction.
when we talk a lot about, like, feelings, because you were talking about, like, women are this way and
Right.
men are this way. You were
We're designed
meant
that
to...
way.
Yeah, but you're still
100%.
designed the way that you are, right? But I feel like women are now different than they used to be, right?
So first and foremost, we can look at it a few different ways. Men are not all men, I'll make that very, very clear. Majority of men are not who they are supposed to be at all nowadays, like, period. Our
Right.
testosterone's way lower, we don't act the same, we don't carry ourselves the same, we don't protect the same, we don't provide the same. Most of us are nowhere near what we are supposed to be.
But that's what I'm saying. Is it because of, like, food? Is it because of social media? Is
I
it
think
because
it's a
women
combination of a lot of things, and
women
I
are in the workforce?
I'm elaborating. I
Okay.
understand your question.
Okay. I was trying to make sure you knew how I was roping that in.
By the way, men will stop talking too if you constantly interrupt them. So we see that. So, and then from there, we got to remember, like, right now, like, the earth, I know the expression is the earth's the devil's playground, but, like, the earth is
It is
designed
flat.
that way right now. Like, the devil has dominion as far as doing this. Like he was given the keys. He's allowed to, right? And it's just to seed out those who are seeking God and those who aren't. So first and foremost, what was the first temptation that ever happened? Food.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the first person that was ever tempted? Women,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he hasn't changed his tricks. He absolutely still goes to that. And the reason he does that is because you guys do have a way harder calling than we do. Like, we're called to work the earth, to do these hard things, to do all these different stuff, right?
Right.
Which is hard. But to submit to someone else, that they get to choose the direction things go in, is so much harder, right? And women aren't supposed to do that for their man. They're supposed to do that because God commanded it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I tell women all the time, like, you're not submissive because your husband deserves it. You're submissive because God commands it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make you lesser. It doesn't mean anything like people want to
Right.
portray it nowadays, but that's so much harder. And right in Genesis, when that first command was given, we see that. It says, you guys will have desire to reign over them, to do your own thing, to do these things, but you will not be permitted to. Your role is going to be this. Right? So we see that natural conflict. So where there's natural conflict, the devil will exploit. So we see that in women, and we see the natural conflict if we need food, right? What was the first temptation that the devil went to with Christ himself? Food. He said, hey, if you're really the Son of God, make this rock into bread and eat it. You're
So
hungry,
you
man.
think it has more to do with food than it does with like women being in the
No,
workforce?
I think it's absolutely to do with the devil's not stupid. He started this as a slow process. He started weaning into things. He made sex popular because we naturally want it. He made it into a job. He made it into a social thing. He started manipulating food because we have to have it. Now we crave it more than ever because we're not even eating real food. We eat food-like products that taste good and are way more reactive in our body. He taught women that being at home with kids is less than working somewhere for someone else. Like, most women nowadays are submissive to their bosses. They do what their bosses tell them, but they're not submissive to their husbands.
Yeah, but a lot of it is that it's forced. I mean, nowadays you can't really you
Not
can't
arguing that at
afford.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you
And
can't.
that's
Women can't
that's my
afford to be
point.
at
He
home.
wasn't dumb. He's raised
Yeah.
prices of things. He made money, the driving force for everything. So families have to have both parents working and sometimes even more than one job. And he's not dumb. He has pride and pride and pride and done this very well over a long period of time. With men, we're naturally so much more lustful than women. Um, like our testosterone is just obviously significantly higher, which is a driving force for libido. So for us, it's through the roof, and he exploited that. He's like, hey man, you ain't got to raise them kids. Come look at this. Come look at that. Hey man, look at this. These girls are willing to do it. Go ahead and hop in, and you don't have to do anything for them, right? And he absolutely started pulling fathers away from being fathers and being husbands, which forced women to step into roles that they never should have had to be in. Um,
So do you think
and now it's become a social standard.
which one do you think would
Go
have
ahead.
to be the worst one for you? Like which one do you not for you. I'm saying like which
Okay.
one do you feel like is the majority? Like if you were to tell a household right now, to try to, I mean obviously it's seeking God first, but
Yeah.
which one do you think, hey, if you're wanting to work on this, do you think it's food first? Do you think it's, you know, maybe the man's not working as much as he should, or
Well,
hey, you're going to have to find a balance because
um,
you're both working, like
I'm being a man. I'm not going to call women out on what they should or shouldn't do. The Bible's there to do that, and
well,
other women.
I think a lot of women are
Food
seeking.
obviously is extremely hard. That'd be a very very hard place to start, just because the way that everything is built nowadays. So I'll simply call out the man of the household. Be a man. Raise your kids. Be the leader. Lead them, not command them. Lead them. Take care of your wife. Let her be what she's supposed to be. Um, it's your job. It's your calling. You have to figure this out. Pray about it, and God will open doors to allow that to happen. But if you're not praying, if you're not studying the Bible, and you're not reading stuff, then why would they ever do it? It starts with you. You are the head of the household the way Christ is the head of the church. It starts with you. Step into your role, learn what your role is. You're going to feel more fulfilled. You're going to be happier. Your wife, your kids can start doing things the way that they're meant to be, and hopefully find their own peace and fall into certain things that's going to even make them happier, which will make you even happier on top of that. And you may not have all the material stuff in the world. Like, forget about that. We're so caught up in, I want the new iPhone. Here's $2,000. But I'm like, hey, dude, here's, um, a brand new nutrition thing that you can do that's $1,800. Like, oh no, like, fix your priorities, man. You're gonna replace that phone in a month or in a year. Like, you think that's more important than fixing your body you're gonna have the rest of your life? The food you put in your body that processes the chemicals in your brain and how you think.
Yeah.
Like, most of our issues nowadays in our brains are simply because of food, and it's proven through study after study after study. But our big pharma in this country is like, no, it's not, man. It's not your fault. You just need to take a pill. And it's like, yeah, man, because most of the damage is already done. Like, and it's going to be really hard to fix it.
I think we're all afraid of peace though too, like genuinely just slowing down life. It's like you're constantly chasing something,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Well,
a
and I
big
think it's
part.
not chasing. I'll kind of wrap it up with this because I know we've kind of made this one into a long one. I think the biggest thing that happens in this world is everyone is running. Most of us are running away versus running towards something, right?
Yeah.
A gazelle runs away to save itself. Eventually, you're going to fall. Eventually, it's not going to last.
Yeah.
But running out of fear is way different than running towards something. A lion chooses when it runs to get food. It's its choice. A gazelle runs when something forces it to.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of us right now are running because we're being forced to. We're not running because we're chasing something.
It's a good one.
Find something to chase, run towards something, not away from something. Take control of your life.
Yeah.
So, but,
'Kay.
all right, guys. I know that was a lot. I know we ramble. Hopefully,
You can keep up.
get some stuff out of it. Yeah. Let us know comments, thoughts, topics you want us to cover in the next one or two. We kind of just went through some comments and some text messages we got, and just kind of picked a couple topics just to discuss. We don't script this. I mean, this is just a honest, raw conversation. So sometimes maybe I don't word things perfectly. So bear with me on the intent versus maybe the exact phrase.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think we definitely rabbit hole a lot. So if it's something where you need us to be more specific over something, don't hesitate. Let us know. We kind of just go through daily life things that we've been through to help hopefully give you guys some constructive feedback and to hopefully save you some of the struggles that we went through.
Yeah.
So anyways, drop in the comments. Let us know some stuff that you want to hear for us. If there's something that you're struggling with, you want us to go through, or even the fun side of things. We're not afraid to talk about some of the fun things that we've done and go through that stuff. So yeah, let us know.
Men, if you're interested, my group, it's on my links in my link tree. It's called Building Biblical Masculinity. It's completely free. You're welcome to join. We're going to have weekly prayer calls. We're going to have some Bible studies and some time to talk and kind of go over some things together as well. It's just an open community chat. We can just talk to each other to help us through, different struggles we're having. Women, she has one. I'll let her talk about that part and where to find it. But
we'll discuss that a different time. Men, if you are struggling to the point of suicide, please either reach out to Charlie or, of course, a suicide hotline, because I can promise you, men, us women do want you here. We want you to talk. You should never feel ashamed or upset. We just are not always quite prepared for when you're ready to talk. So make sure that you know in your heart that we definitely want you here. So don't be afraid to reach out.
The Bible tells us we're meant to carry each other's burdens, and I would rather carry your burden than your casket.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Till next time.
This
Peace
is Married
out.
Too. See ya.
YouTube.